Hey y'all, welcome back to CB Overland. Today we're going to the outfit, upfit, some of the basic loadout of how we turn this from a little mild built TJ to our adventure rig. Right now I'm popping in a couple of holes for a new privacy tent we've got going on so I can have some pooping privacy. Welcome back. In this installment of this particular program, we're working on upfitting everything. In our previous episode, we went through this entire rig, tip to tail, gave it a bunch of maintenance, fixed up some joints, added some new springs, bunch of maintenance under the hood. But now it's time to take a well-running Jeep and outfit it so that we can go on an epic adventure with it. That started off with getting our roof rack bolted on and getting our tent slid on, which took a little bit of overland engineering, hooking up a winch and a couple of boards, and we were able to slide this up. My back is shot, and we're both pretty short, so lifting that tent up above our heads onto the roof rack was a bit of a challenge. But needless, it is up there. And got our roof case bolted up onto the back, and that stores a lot of our dry good food and clothes, but we'll jump back there and show you some of that in a minute. At the moment, I'm installing a privacy tent. So we're going to jump up and get the rest of those holes drilled in and mount this tent up. But that tent is not something I wished I would have had when we were on the road before. We were traveling around and we'd try to hit events. We were kind of out there and stark naked if you're trying to change or do anything, and laying down to change your pants is a challenge. So that is going to enable us to be able to change, get cleaned up, use the bathroom when we need to when we're out in more events, things like cleanups and that when you're out in the middle of nowhere and start of things and there's no services, no bathrooms, things like that. So yeah, let's throw that on and then we'll get you on a round of how this thing's set up. So I want to go over all the things that are in addition to making this a functional Jeep, but everything that's in addition to that we use when we're out overland camping. Even small stuff like a shovel. It's a Crazy Beaver shovel. It's been mounted on the fender for years and has dug a lot of holes for number twos. And a high lift jack, super controversial topic, but they're handy when you need them. I've even used it to level things out when we had a trailer. We need to lift the suspension up and let things droop out. That's a way to do that too. In the previous video, I mentioned these, and we added these on, some more water storage from Rotopacks, and some quick mounts on the sides. So you can pull that on and off quickly, and that let us move some weight up and free up some interior storage space too. And then the shower tent, which we'll expand all this in a minute, but got that all installed and buttoned up. Looks sharp. And first aid, something that's super important, especially when you're traveling out remote, or in general. I mean, you're driving in traffic and there's a traffic accident, you're gonna need some things. So this is a first aid kit with a little bit more trauma-based. Some more tools for heavy bleeding, even staple gun, things like that. Gauze and all that. I'll have to do a separate video on everything that's in the first aid kit, but that's super important to have. And a little more water storage. So over a total of 8 gallons, we have 4 Rotopacks storage containers on here. And this little system is pretty slick. So this is on a dual Rotopacks mount. So these are stacked 2 deep. But then when I want to use my water at camp, and I don't have to hold a jug and try and pour out into a container, this one becomes my primary faucet, if you will. So because it's on the double mount, it spins, rotates. So I can dump that down and faucet, whether I'm filling a pot or washing hands, whatever it is, and just tip it back up and it's done. And I can just use a little cap, and then that's my runner all the time, and I just keep refilling or rotating until so that one's full. And around the back up top, this storage case, it's a Rome case. That's also been on there for years. That one stores all of our dry goods. So all of our pastas and chips, crackers, snacks, things like that, dried beans. That's about a third of the storage container. And then the other side is all clothes and apparel, socks, all that fun stuff. Try to keep some of the lighter items up top and some less of the swaying up top. As we move into the back, we cook almost every meal. I have some food allergies, so I can't do any quick food. So there's no gas station stops, no fast food restaurants, nothing like that. So if we're stopping for lunch, we're making lunch. So this getting set up super efficient. Over years and years of travel, I've done 15 different systems of doing this. Cases and tables and different styles of cookers, this, that, and the other. This unit is by far most efficient so far. And this was built out by Tyler from Tin Bin. He's down in Wickenburg, Arizona. Huge thank you to him for this. Reach out for anything you need for outfitting, aluminum, does bed trays, all kinds of stuff. For us, this bottom drawer holds a basic Coleman cooker. I'm going to wire that up to the propane tank that's up here on the back. Middle drawer is kind of cooking accoutrements and pots, pans, things like that. And I'll do a separate one on the total kitchen. That gets a little more involved. And the top drawer is kind of knives, coffee, some spices, and things like that. And a trusty ARB fridge. This is an ARB 50 quart that is old as... It's like 7 years old. It's been running for years. Keeping food cold and fresh on the trail is fantastic. Once I graduated out of the cooler world, I'm never going back. And I've only bought one. I bought this used 4 or 5 years ago. And the guy I bought it from ran it in the back of his Toyota truck doing off-road recovery and things like that. It was running all the time. And since I've had it, it's ran inside, outside, crap weather, in the dusty elements, you name it. I've beat this thing, and it was worth every penny. I do have one more thing to fix on it. The only thing that's gone wrong on this is a little bit of handle plastic breakage. But we found the replacement part for that on Jegs. So I got to get that on before we go. And tucked in the back, just a couple of small camp chairs that I've got tied up to the cargo net in the back. Also that I missed, there's a twin ARB compressor in here. I've just got the hose reeled up here, and then that's hardwired to the dual battery behind my seat. Also a game changer. When we're airing up and down off-road, cleaning this all off, being an open air rig, we get so dusty. And I'm not complaining, I love it. This is how I love to adventure. Wide open, you can taste the world you're traveling to. I love it. And the compressor comes in handy for blowing all that off, blowing all the dust out of everything, the dogs included. Something else that gets added. Been using the tailgater table for a long time. It's a pretty lightweight table. This one is very lightweight. I had their steel original version, had it for years. It's a great table, but it weighs a fair amount. And when we're camping out in the middle of nowhere, it's not like any of these spots are particularly flat, or there's any flat surface to any of them. So setting up a four-legged table can be kind of a pain to get level, and then lots of wind and stuff that can blow over the table. If you're using something lightweight, nope. This solves all of that. A couple of pegs to move. And this accommodates pretty big tires. So if we're just setting up for lunch, I mean, that's it. That's it, and I got a table. If I'm gonna do a little more work on it, as a third leg, I'm gonna snap that out. Hundreds of meals have been cooked on these tables. I love it. And you have no dependence on the surface. You're not wobbling. You're not looking for a flat spot or trying to jam rocks in the side of a table. and it packs down really flat. It was just sitting in the back of the tire carrier. Love these guys. It's a tailgater tire table. I guess part that does matter here, this is the observation deck I built a while back for the dogs. Originally, when we first started adventuring, this was a heap of camping gear, totes and the cooler and junk, and then I just threw a tarp over the top and plopped the dogs in on top of that. But yeah, we built this a while ago. It's a couple of Basset Hounds. They're short, small space. It fits well, and just a couple like workout floor mats. We fit together and cut to fit the top. That's their hangout. It's their happy place. And adding some sort of dumpster bag, I think, is pretty important. If you're going to head out into really anywhere, but if you're out in the park and you got snacks, whatever, and wrappers, it's nice to be able to pick this up and just chuck it away, take it home, throw it in the trash at home. Get it when you get off the trail. And this one also houses our dog food. I don't think I have anything in there right now. But we keep a dog food in a dry bag in the back of there. Dirty laundry and just all the gross bits end up there. On propane, instead of carrying around a bunch of the smaller bottles of propane, little green Coleman bottles, I do keep one for backup, those little 1-pounders. But this one is just over a gallon filled. It's a 5-pound propane tank. And I've got that strapped with a really minimalist tank bracket here. So it just uses a few clamps, a few band clamps right to the roll cage, and then it also comes drilled out so you can mount it flat or mount it against a flat surface. And yeah, it cradles out really nice, and a couple of band clamps with quick connects on the outside. That one's from Bay Area Metal Fab out in San Francisco. Found those guys at Overland Expo a while back. And then mirrored to the other side of water, this is 4 gallons of fuel. This TJ has the larger tank, it's a 19-gallon tank. But when you're loaded like this, you're still not getting jack for fuel mileage. So that helps us go a little bit further. And it's also pretty rough on fuel tanks. When we're traveling off-road, side to side, when we get low in fuel, if we tip to the side, then that pickup sock can't grab any fuel. So I'll empty these when I'm at a quarter tank, just so I can keep the fuel level up inside the tank. And again, mirrored to the other side, our first aid kit for us. We've got a first aid kit for the dogs. Some more stuff geared towards them. Wound drying stuff, things like that. Again, I'll need to go through a separate rehab video on there. What else am I missing? A little high lift jack base plate up here. I use that more to level the rig when we're camping than anything else. It is nice when you're using a bottle jack to spread the load. You can set the bottle jack right in the middle of it and then jack up whatever you're doing so it's not so wobbly out in the dirt. That helps a lot with that. But more often than not, I'll use that under the rear end to level us out with my front sway bar disconnected. And that'll level us and get us square. And the front sway bar front axle will just do the thing on the suspension and twist us up pretty flat. I use that all the time, rather than trying to find the appropriate size rock and digging around in the dirt to do that. I think that about wraps it up for the outside goodies. Let's go full Transformers. All right, so y'all probably just watched that in hyper time. But in all reality, that took maybe 10 minutes. Maybe. Like, that's super fast. And this thing just transforms into our whole house. Refrigerator, welcome to the kitchen. Fridge, stove, right? Pantry. Jump up there right out of the pantry, take you over to the toilet. Kitchen counter. This being our newest addition, this is pretty cool. Let's bring you on into the toilet. Welcome to the shower. It's pretty sweet though. It's covered. So much for rain, but the beating sun too. Stripped down. It says double zippers too, so if this is against the door like it is for us, I can jump in here. For me, I've got access to everything. I can leave all my stuff sitting right there. Get changed, swap around, leave all my clothes sitting there, throw my dirties in there. That's pretty awesome. It's even got a light. Like, that's cool. I don't know when I'm going to shower at night, but it's there. That's pretty cool. And we've got a little bit of privacy when we're around others, which I'd much prefer. Quite honestly, I think Chelsea does too. Just going in the wind, but can't always do that. So that's going to be really nice for some privacy. Something I forgot to mention when we were walking around the rig is my door table. I just popped a couple of Heim joints into the fender here, and then I can flip up the door off the hinges, and we've got a flat surface to work with. This one's been convenient. I was pretty happy when I sorted that one out. Anyways, onto the bedroom. Well, come on up. Oh, welcome to the bedroom. Not gonna lie, it's a little weird to invite you in here. But anyways, this is a CVT tent, and this tan shell, we even got a light on behind me in here. It is so dark. I will sleep so late in this tent. It's really comfortable too. It's got about 1.5 inch foam mattress, memory foam mattress. It's pretty stiff, but I really like that. It's good for my back, or so it seems. Sleep the best in this out of anywhere. And a couple of sleeping bags. These sleeping bags have been with us. I think these are the first bags we bought when we were just adventuring, chucking stuff in the back of the Jeep. They're Teton sleeping bags. I think they're down to a 32 degree, so not super thick. Pretty cool though for a couple. They do zip together, so when it is really cold, we'll stuff both of us and both Bassets right down into this sleeve. And I'm not kidding, those Bassets have kept us alive before when it's been down in the 20s and it's cold. But their body temperature and sharing ours inside these kept us warm. And something that seems a little highly debated, I guess, is pillows. What do you do for a camp pillow? Do you use the little tiny camp pillow that you stuff up and ball up and try and lift your head off the ground? Or do you bring your pillow from home? And sometimes that's a really big pillow. And do you want to take that pillow from home out into the wild and get it full of dust and dirt and junk like that? So the coolest product I've found to solve this is kind of an in-between size. It's still pretty big. These pillows are by Hest, and this one's got a pillowcase on it. But the same thing with getting dirty. Is this going to get filthy when you fold up the tent, or if you're not in a rooftop tent, in a ground tent maybe, and you pack all this gear in the back of your rig, and all your pillows just there with everything else, and you can smash your face against that later. So their solution, the engineering in this is killer. So this is how the pillow packs up, right? It has a bag that comes from inside to outside and zips back on itself. It's killer. And then a little pocket back here to keep that case. But then when you unzip this, it folds inside out, taking the case and the dirty part from wherever you shoved it in your rig or whatever, the dog's been stepping on it for the 2-hour drive to get there. And you zip that all shut, and it's gone. And now you've got a clean surface, put your face on, and it's a good size pillow, really comfortable pillow too. It's a good night's sleep is awesome. And honestly, I sleep the best in this tent. Way better than anywhere else. But that solves the pillow debate for us on whether the tiny camp pillow or the massive home pillows. Sure is comfy up here.
I do love it up here too. This one does get really dark.
Yeah, this light that I'm using here, I guess that's another little piece of kit we use all the time. Not really gonna be able to show you that while it's on. I'll jump outside and show it to you. But these are a headlamp that clips onto a ball cap or shirt pocket or whatever. Then they've got a few different light modes. A little flashlight, red light, and then they're kind of flood and several brightnesses. It's on a dimmer. You just need a little bit. And we want to light this place up. But it is daylight outside. Again, mention how dark this tent is. It's really nice. Yeah, let me kill that for a sec. This is that light by Claymore. Yeah, it's a pretty slick little light. Brightness, switch modes. Red, which I use all the time at night running around so we don't attract so many bugs. And there, and the power switch works as the dimmer. And there's this little clip, folds out, so I'm going to set it somewhere. Or otherwise, for me, I'm always wearing a ball cap, so it has this little fin. And then I just throw that on the end of the cap. And more often than not, I don't even use the floodlight. I tip this forward. Or I don't use the spot, I use the flood, and I can tip that forward and kind of just illuminate the whole thing when I'm cooking. So I can see the whole table and see all the surfaces and a little bit broader. That's slick. So now we're up here in the roof box, in our closet and pantry, if you will. So all Chelsea's clothes are separated here in these Maxpedition pouches. So you can keep everything separate and organized. And along with my big sock bag and the personal items you need. And kind of the other third of that, half third, is our dry goods. So some spicy refried beans, rice, crackers, chips, pastas, things like that. Some of the lighter weight food items that we can keep up here and keep it dry in the Roam case up here on the roof. And packed away in the Overland Vehicle Systems trash bag back here, up in the top flap, we've got all of our Vertex rain gear packed away in some dry Ziploc bags so that if we hit some inclement weather, I can quickly jump out and just get into this so I don't have to open that roof case and get all of our food and our dry clothes all soaking wet. I can just jump back here, throw on our quick rain gear, and keep going. So we don't have any top and doors. If it's raining, we just get wet. Then around to the inside. On the inside of here, it is no joke that we use every inch of space available in this TJ. It's tiny. We're trying to be as efficient with our gear and keep it as minimalist as we can, but we still need a lot of gear to go full time out of this thing for a few months. So starting off behind the seat here, a little pack on the back of the seat for some kind of everyday grab stuff. And then right behind, I've got all my clothes packed into just a backpack, everything except for my socks. As I've only got a few pairs of socks, shirts, same thing for both of us. Or excuse me, a few things of, few different shirts, a few different pairs of pants, rest of the accoutrements, and the sock bag up there. As you want to change your socks frequently. You can even get jungle rot in the desert from how much I'm sweating. And then underneath that is a tool roll from Blue Ridge Overland Gear, and it's got all of our hand tools and things like that. And stuffed along the side of here is still more electrical tools, and I'm using every inch. Kind of peek in here, this is a chair strapped up to the cargo net, and some air down tools and a few other things in that back bag. And behind the seat also lives our second battery. So that helps run the fridge and keep all of our devices charged and stuff when we're just camped out off grid. And a quick spot of coffee, fast reloads. Well, then let's jump up into the cockpit. There's a lot going on in here. Having the full cage allowed us to use ram mounts, cage mounts, and utilize different lengths of their arms for our cell phone mounts and our iPad mount. And on the iPad, we run Overland Bounds navigation and mapping software. And that's oriented in a fashion that it doesn't get in my way, steering or shifting, and so that Chelsea can still see it as a co-driver. Because she's doing the majority of our navigation. I'm just taking direction and running the pedals. And then same thing, utilizing the roll bar for a couple cup holders, my coffee stash here, water bottle down below. And same thing on this little ram mounts here too. This one's a little quick disconnect though. I've got a GoPro hooked up to it right now. But I can move that one with a suction cup, and we can plop that anywhere we want. So I want to get that out of here so you guys don't have to stare at my dirty windshield. I can just run that down the trail right out the front. If we need a front-facing one, I can just move that around as see fit. I'm using ram mounts for a long time. When I flopped this on its side, up in Utah, everything came spilling down at me, but my phone stayed firmly in place. And ever since then, it's been ram mounts for all of it. I'm a big fan. Then we just move into some of the real controls. I've got a B&M short throw shifter. It's like my favorite modification on this thing. And not necessarily for quick shifts, just less throw. And I'm not getting in the way of anything. Smashing into my beverage holder here. It's easy on the shoulder too. And a small control panel down below that runs a couple lights, seat heaters, and our front locker. And that's hooked up to a ProComp switch panel, so I can use a 6-gang switch. I still have a couple of them empty. But nice, quick, and on-the-fly switches. No relays. Everything's solid state. So I don't have to mess around with a bunch of different relays and running power cables all over the place. What else have we got? Little storage and document storage up here. Just keep some basic writing utensils and some of our information, things like that up here. And kind of becomes a storage after getting receipts and state park passes when we have to get into a park and different things like that. Quick access for some documents. Some more storage pouches up here. It's kind of personal on-the-go stuff, some quick snacks or things of that nature. Everything else is also wired up to all the phone mount, the iPad. I've got chargers wired all over here to a separate switch gang that lives in the glove box. Then I can manually turn that on and off. So it's direct wired to the battery. So if we need to charge while the vehicle's off, we're just at camp. All of this is still live to be able to charge devices. And inside the center console is the head unit for our rugged radios here. So when things get loud, whether it's on the trail, booming, or whether we're heading down the highway, it's just the howl of everybody's tires. That saves our hearing quite a bit. What else have we got? I got stuff stuffed everywhere. So down here, just a couple of rags to grab. I was talking about too, and when it's raining, these tires are throwing stuff everywhere. Sometimes I got to reach down and interior wipe the windshield. You're getting rain on the inside. And some other larger tools. Don't fit quite so well on the tool roll. Hammer, breaker bar. It's kind of a fun backstory on some of these tools. I carry the 1/2-inch ratchet and 1/2-inch breaker bar from my grandfather. It's been through 3 generations, and it's pretty cool and it still wrenches. So it's a little memory piece and it still works. Cool to have with on all the adventures. And my grandfather's 94, so that shows how old that is. And a large wrench that we use if I have to tighten up the jam nuts, we need to make any adjustments on the control arms. Then in this bag is a few shackles for our recovery equipment. Keep that close at hand in case I need to hand it to somebody else if they need to rig up and I can't get out of the vehicle for whatever reason. Did I mention heated seats? Yeah. There's no heat in this. Heater core went out a long time ago, and I did not get around to fixing that. That requires me to pull this entire cage out with how this dash and everything's set up. We did not get to that, but not our first go around with this. And if the seat heater's going, it at least warms the blood in my butt. Then pumps that through the rest of me, and we stay pretty warm. Yeah, I think that about covers it. One more RAM mounts mount on our Zoleo GPS. That's our backup GPS. Typically in navigation, for the app anyways, we're using the GPS out of the wireless cell service unit in the iPad, and that'll do our tracking. We can also tether to the Zoleo if for some reason that goes down, and that Zoleo also lets us do outbound messaging through the Iridium satellite towers, or satellites, Iridium satellites, floating around in space. And also has a weather band, so we can get pretty decent weather data when we're completely off the grid, other than trying to listen into NOAA and catch the right elevations, weather forecasts, and that gets sketchy. So that was a big improvement from our last round on the road. And that lives right up here, so we can see a clear view of the sky when we're driving right into the windshield here. And I think that about covers it for the interior. Think so. Well, we are very excited to get going on this next adventure. Or lovingly calling this the 2410K. 2024 and 10,000 miles at least out of this rig. Really excited to get going on this. It'll be at least 10,000 miles. That's no hotels unless it's absolutely necessary, unless I blow something up, right? So no hotels, no eating out anywhere, no quick restaurants, no gas station food, completely out of the rig, self-sustained out of the rig, with only resupply runs as needed. I am excited, and this rig is finally ready to go. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you on the trail. I almost forgot a critical component. You can get your very own and join the adventure community at overlandbound.com. Mapping, resources, and navigation. Also communicate with us a little more directly. Get your own version of street cred. Wear them with pride. See you out there.